Hello students, in today's video we'll discuss how to predict the products of electrolysis. We know that in an electrolytic cell the process of electrolysis occur and the new substances are formed. The electrolytic cell is made up of an electrolytic tank, in which electrolyte is filled and two metal rods are dipped which act as an electrode. One is anode and another is cathode. In electrolytic cell, anode is positively charged and cathode is negatively charged. So the circuit is completed and this is electrolyte solution. So some substances will be deposited at anode or cathode and some substance will be liberated. Now which substance will be liberated or deposited, that we are going to discuss today. That means today we'll be discussing how to find out the products of electrolysis. Now the product formed during electrolysis, it depends on two factors. First one, the substance electrolyzed. Whether it is a strong electrolyte, weak electrolyte, etc. And secondly, the electrode. The electrode used can be of two types. The first one, if we use inert electrode, then it will not participate in the reaction. Like gold, platinum, if we are using those electrodes, these electrodes do not take part in reaction. And if we are using the electrode of the metal, in that case the reaction will be different because it will take part in the reaction. Okay, I'm just coming back to this substance electrolyzed, whether it is the aqueous one or molten one. Molten I can also say as fused one. So we have to consider all these factors. Let us take an example. Suppose I have filled the electrolytic tank with molten NaCl, or I will say fused NaCl. Then what will be the product formed during the electrolysis? NaCl, molten one, will dissociate into Na plus and Cl minus. We know that at cathode, reduction take place, and at cathode sodium will accept an electron and will get deposited as sodium solid. At anode, we know oxidation take place. Cl minus will liberate an electron, will form chlorine. Two chlorine atoms will form chlorine gas. So this is the condition when we are taking molten sodium chloride. Let us see, I have taken molten sodium bromide. Then in that case, again there will be two conditions. At cathode, what will happen at cathode? Sodium will accept an electron, that is the reduction will take place, and at anode, bromide will lose electron and will form bromine gas. So these are the product when we are taking molten electrolyte. But if the same electrolyte we are taking in aqueous form, then the condition changes. Let us say our electrolyte is aqueous sodium chloride instead of molten NaCl. Now what will happen in this case? Sodium chloride, so it will dissociate into Na plus and Cl minus. On the other hand, water is also present. We are taking aqueous solution. So H plus and OH minus, that means there are two cations and two anions. So now which reaction will be preferred? Which element will be deposited or liberated at cathode or anode? All these things depends on the discharge potential of the element. Now how do discharge potential, or I will say reduction potential, help in determining the products? Let us solve it. Remember the condition at cathode. What will happen at cathode? For determining the product formed at cathode, we have to use two tricks. So now you have to remember the tips which I will give you to identify the product. At cathode, suppose SRP of water that is greater than SRP of cation. That means the reduction potential of water, if it is greater than reduction potential of cation, then in that case reduction of water is favored. And therefore hydrogen in the form of gas will be liberated. For example, all the elements of group 1, group 2 and group 13. These elements themselves are good reducing agents and therefore they will not undergo reduction and they will reduce hydrogen. Vice versa, if standard reduction potential of water, if it is less than standard reduction potential of cation that is available in the electrolyte solution, then reduction of water will not occur. Or I will say hydrogen as a gas will not be liberated. Now which are these elements? For example, copper, silver, gold, cadmium, etc. For these elements, the reduction of water will not occur, that is the hydrogen gas will not be liberated at cathode. Similarly, at anode, we have two conditions. The elements like fluoride, NO3 minus, etc., they have oxidation potential less than that of oxidation potential of water. So in that case, what will happen? Oxidation of water will occur and oxygen gas will be evolved. Whereas the elements like chloride, bromide, iodide, they have oxidation potential greater than that of water and therefore oxidation of water will not occur and these elements they will be released as gas at anode. In one go, I can say that at cathode that reaction will be favored which has higher SRP. And at anode, that reaction will be favored which has low SRP. If you remember these two things, that will help a great to you for remembering the product. So this is a trick that you have to remember for solving the products of electrolysis. Now keeping all these points in mind, we will solve our question of electrolysis of aqueous NaCl. So when we are discussing electrolysis of aqueous NaCl, this is in the form of aqueous. There are two reactions occurring. Aqueous sodium chloride dissociate into Na plus and Cl minus. Water dissociate into H plus and OH minus. So we have two cations and two anions in the solution. At cathode, we know reduction occurs. So both the cation will undergo reduction. E naught, let us consider. For the first reaction, E naught is minus 0.27 volt. And for the second reaction, we know for hydrogen it is 0.0 volt. Just now I have told you at cathode that reaction will be favored which has higher SRP. So which has higher SRP in this case? Hydrogen, and therefore what will be the product? Hydrogen gas will be released and this Na remains in the solution. Coming to anode, at anode oxidation occurs. So we have two anions for oxidation. First of all, chloride, it will lose electron, form chlorine. And now OH minus, instead of OH minus, I will directly write as H2O. So H2O forms oxygen and releases electron. Let us consider E naught values. E naught for the first reaction is 1.36 volt and for second reaction is 1.23 volt. We know that at anode, element with low E naught value, that reaction is preferred. So ideally oxygen gas should be liberated at anode, but what happens? The oxidation of water is a very slow process. It requires extra voltage, what we call as over voltage, and that is not suitable for an electrolytic cell, and therefore this becomes a case of exception where although E naught value of oxidation of water is less, still oxidation of chlorine is preferred, that is chlorine gas will be evolved because over voltage is required for oxidation of water, and therefore at anode I will say chlorine gas will be evolved. Let us consider one more example, electrolysis of aqueous copper sulfate solution. When we are carrying out electrolysis of copper sulfate, we have two cations, Cu2 plus and H plus. We have two anions, SO4 2 minus and OH minus. So at anode, which reaction is preferred? 2H2O giving 4H plus and O2 plus 4 electron, as it will have low E naught value. So I will say oxygen will be liberated at anode, and at cathode copper, since here the SRP of H2O will be less than that of SRP of cation, and therefore hydrogen will not be evolved, instead copper will be deposited. But this reaction is preferred only when inert electrodes are used. Remember this case, only when the inert electrodes are used we get these two type of reaction. Why? Because inert electrode do not participate in the reaction. Now suppose we have taken copper as an electrode, then the conditions become totally different, as copper itself will take part in the reaction. At cathode the reaction is same as the previous one, that copper as a metal gets deposited. So here there is no change, but the condition at anode it changes, because now anode is made up of copper. Anode is made up of copper and it will participate in the reaction. It will undergo oxidation. So oxidation of copper will occur and Cu2 plus will be formed. This Cu2 plus goes in the solution. So what is the overall result when we are using copper as electrode during electrolysis of copper sulfate? Copper is deposited at cathode and an equivalent amount of copper from anode will dissolve in solution as Cu2 plus. So whenever a question comes in your board exams that to identify the products of electrolysis, you have to remember two conditions. First one, if it is aqueous, then there will be two cations and two anions. Then we have to choose which cation will be reacting at cathode and anode. That depends on the discharge potential or the reduction potential. Secondly, we have to look for the electrode. Suppose it is an inert electrode, then the reaction will be different, and suppose we are using metal as an electrode, then the reactions will be different. That's all for the day. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.